Well, good morning, and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folani. Well, President Cyril Ramaphosa of South Africa is what we now say. I mean, you know, international affairs, you keep on learning new people in charge. So there it is. In South Africa, we have a new president. President Buhari congratulated him the other day. Well, my guest this morning, Professor Charles Dokubo, Director of Research and Studies at NIIA. Thank you very much, as always, Prof, for coming on.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Our pleasure. And Honorable Rotimi Ogunwuyi, he's a legal practitioner as well as a politician. Thank you very much for coming on the program. Okay, Prof, let me start with you. African politics generally, what happened in South Africa there where the party ordered the former president to resign, and indeed it came to pass. So we now have someone else. That was a bit strange to me, just because my experience mostly is our experience. And so I begin to look at the power of the party. How can they be? Is this about party discipline, party supremacy? I mean, why couldn't he just thumb his nose at them?
He couldn't, because, you know, definitely he faced, you know, the rock and the hard place. That's what he faced. Because the fact was that they are going to impeach vote of no confidence will have taken place. And then to save face. And if you look at Zuma, his records and all that, it's not that sort of a thing really that the party itself will endear itself to. Because the heart and soul of the ANC has been destroyed by Zuma's action. And that it was time for him to quit. He has done his bit. It's time for him to quit. And hence, the party organization. And then also you must look that the party is one of the longest parties in Africa. And that for it to come up and then say it's okay,
yes,
you must step down. And it's not the first time. You know about Zimbabwe. It happened also in Zimbabwe. The person that people have known all through their life as leader of Zimbabwe is stood down. So definitely.
He didn't stand down willingly.
No,
this is the big difference.
Neither did Zuma sit down willingly.
But they didn't have a choice.
No, but yeah, definitely.
They had arrived at a situation where you don't have your choice. The people have spoken now.
No, and when the options are that stark, and then you know that there is nothing you can do, you have to step down,
okay,
or you'll be disgraced.
Honorable Rotimi, okay. I don't know that there are any parallels down here, but is this something that you imagine in time? I'm talking about the whole importance of the people. The people, ANC is representing the people, the National Assembly over there is representing the people. So really, the people are saying thus far and no further. Right now, I don't think that can happen in Nigeria, but give me your perspectives on it.
Thank you. You see, looking at the whole scenario, like Prof rightly said, even in South Africa, it's not the first time. Thabo Mbeki was recalled. And basically, it was on the issue of Zuma that Thabo Mbeki was recalled, because they claim he interfered with the National Prosecuting Authority. Then. Coming to Nigeria, I think the people, our own representative, must be up and doing. You see, because what happened in South Africa transcends any political party. ANC is not the only party. We have other parties. But you see, what has happened, they have taken the interest of the national interest above any other interest. That's why they were able to speak as a body. So I foresee a situation is coming in this country. I pray it will surely come, when the people will stand and defend the national interest of this country. So what I'm saying in essence is that the National Assembly, just as we have it in South Africa, that in Nigeria must be seen as up and doing in this respect.
You know, Prof, well, as a scholar, I want to lean on that aspect for your knowledge of South Africa. But Nigeria, where you live Nigeria, and you're looking at the two systems here, how are they politically different, if at all, to us in Nigeria politically?
Like I mentioned from the beginning, the ANC has been there for a very long time.
So it's a long-lived party.
A strong institution guiding it and binding it together.
So that's the key there.
That's one. And then in Nigeria, yeah, these are parties that are emerging at whenever it's possible. And that it is always, you know, based on some other sentiments apart from the will of the people and the interest of the people. So what you must understand...
Even though that's not what they say when they're campaigning to us.
Most times,
naturally.
If you want to listen to a Nigerian campaigner, what he tells you is that his people said they should stand. And then I don't know when they took the vote to bring him to stand. That's what they always say.
Oh,
but for me, I've had people who said, I've just come to tell you that I want to stand for a position, and I don't need your votes. And even without you, I'll still win.
Well, exactly. Although I'm not too sure if that is something you hear in modern political times, because we definitely heard it before. Say, I understand you people say you won't vote for me in this side of town. We will win without your vote. Taunting the people. It just goes to show that at that time, hopefully not anymore now, the system was completely broken down.
But the fact is that there is still what I call a hostage electorate. That we are sometimes, they've been so emasculated that they don't even have the power to intervene, to make choices. Either it is just given to them as a given. Because if you decide on who represents you, and if he has gone through the processes within the constituencies and all that, then definitely it truly speaks for you. But in a situation where somebody just emerges and says that I want to represent this constituency, these are different because the ANC, don't compare it to whatever we are doing here. We are still consolidating democracy.
That's right.
And don't compare it to what we're doing here.
Because virtually everybody in Nigeria of voting age is older than the oldest party here.
Yes.
You go to any elections, Honorable Rotimi. Every Nigerian of voting age, you can look back how I'm older than the party. So it's a small thing.
Like the ANC, we are this a party that was formed in 1912.
Can you imagine?
It has
so it has stood the test of time and all that.
1912.
And that when that party is coming, talking.
They have a structure. The institution is grounded.
Very, very.
And compared to what we have with some of our parties, even I'm sure some months before the election, you hear INEC is registering some other parties. I think it will take some time, but I'm very, very sure with the awareness going on now, we'll surely get to that place one day.
You think
yes,
things are getting better
I'm
in terms of the electorate,
see,
understanding?
It has gotten to a stage where we need to tell our people, your prayer is not what will make Nigeria. I'm not saying prayer will not make Nigeria, but your prayer is not your PVC. You see, and most of the allies, we succeeded, we are good at criticizing. Some of us do not even bother to go out. The only way we can change this system is to ensure that you have your PVC and you go out to vote.
Well, that's assuming that the people who you are exhorting to go out and vote are actually going there with the right frame of mind. That is to say, they have thought for themselves and have made their decision based on whatever their own criteria is, as opposed to we were told to vote this way. You know there's a lot of that.
Yes, there are a lot of
there's a lot of that.
There are a lot of that, like
so my leader has said whoever that leader is. That's okay.
Yeah. You see, but like as I was saying, it has gotten beyond that stage now.
You think?
Yes, the enlightenment that is going on now is beyond all these things. Because you and I go to some of the churches, you could now see some of the general overseers telling their followers, go and register. Go and participate in politics. It is not like that before. In those days, you even hear some set of people telling, don't go into politics because it's meant for the wicked ones. It is the wicked ones that participated in politics. The situation now is beyond that.
Okay. Well,
just to let you know that the awareness is going on. Okay. So I'm very, very optimistic that one day we will surely get to that stage.
Well, hopefully. Now, Cyril Ramaphosa, he's a 65-year-old. We read that he's been long involved with the ANC. Yes. When Mandela was released from prison, he was introduced to the world by, he was the guy holding the microphone for, President Mandela.
That was 1990.
That's right. But I was reading that he was really seen as almost like embracing the soul of ANC and Mandela's goal. So he was really thought to be the best person to succeed Mandela.
Definitely
But
so.
because if he's 65 now, he was, relatively speaking, a young buck, a young man. And so the African thing came in.
Yes.
And so they said, wait, it's true. You are very, very close. You know it all. But wait. There's this whole gerontocratic thing in Africa where you must defer to age. Unlike in France, for example, where they just put a young man in there, if that's what the electorate
But
says.
in his own case, you can also understand when Thabo Mbeki emerged, Thabo Mbeki has a long pedigree.
Okay.
His father and Mandela
Yes.
and all that.
Yes.
So definitely that was a strong ground of opinion to believe that he should be the rightful heir. And that because of the way his father was part of the ANC and all that, there was no better candidate to steer the ship of state. Okay. So they felt. You know, Thabo Mbeki attended school together with Babagana Kingibe and all that. He used to come to Nigeria and stay with him. We know all that. The fact was that he was so, affable, and then people thought that was it. But we must also understand that was how Cyril stepped out, went into private business.
Indeed.
And then from there.
And became a success.
So definitely.
Although, well, with his connections anyway, I don't know.
But the fact also remains that he has made a good thing of himself.
Right.
Out of the, not from state capture or anything that we now experience now in South Africa. So definitely the belief is that such a, an entrepreneurial person with entrepreneurial skill and all that, that definitely he could steer the ship of state. He's always been in the waiting.
He has.
He has always been in the waiting. And now his time has come. So definitely, I strongly believe, and also the type of, the way he has gone up through the system, international organizations, the international community also believe that he could turn the tide in South Africa.
Indeed, Honorable Rotimi, so much so that the prices, rose on the stock market in South Africa because of what Prof is saying, his entrepreneurial aspect.
Yes.
And so businesses believe that, now we got a guy who knows what it's all about, and so that will stand him in good stead. Yeah, I guess you only bring what you have. So I don't know, in Africa generally, sometimes we bring, there was a time when we felt that, the problem is we haven't had a graduate as a president before. People said, once you get a graduate, things will be different. So I don't know. You got to come with what you've got.
Yes.
South Africans, the outlook is positive for them?
It is. In fact, the day Zuma resigned, even before the new president being sworn in, the rands was strengthened against the dollar, which shows that there is a good prospect for them having the new man in the state. Okay. And if you look at it, he has a lot of things to contend with. Because, like, if you look at him...
Of course, yes. President, the former president...
Zuma.
Yes.
Zuma.
He left a shambles.
Yes. So
according to all observers.
A lot of things to contend with. And one of the grievances against Zuma, apart from the corruption charges and all of that thing, was the dismissal of the finance minister, who was highly respected by South Africans.
Well, leaders do that from time to time. They just break you. See, who do you think you are? One second, please. Because Michael from Otukpo wants to join the conversation. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good. Thank you. Go ahead, please.
Uncle Yori.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah.
Emmanuel.
I greet your panelists.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I greet everybody there.
Thank you.
Well, we thank God for the program. You are doing a very good job. Nigeria will eventually get to what South Africa is operating now. Mm-hmm. But for now, we are still miles behind. We have not been able to assemble our eggheads, but we are now in the process of doing it. By this singular appointment of Asiwaju Ahmed Tinubu to reconcile the APC aggrieved members, we are now on the right path. And by the time the APC will allow Tinubu to do the right thing, because Tinubu is an astute politician. If they allow him to reconcile the aggrieved members and they listen to his counsel, because he's a very wise politician, things will turn around for Nigeria. Let us get it right by getting the right people into the National Assembly first, Because as we have now, the assembly members are not helping matters.
Okay, Michael.
If we get the right
Michael, okay, yeah. You're talking about, I beg your pardon, Emmanuel, you're talking about a different topic.
Yes.
We're talking about the new South African president and how he came to office.
Yes.
Yeah, his party.
There's a kind of comparison. We try to compare Nigeria and South Africa.
Okay, yes, you're saying that these efforts could possibly get the ruling party to have such strength.
Yes.
To be able to perform as ANC apparently has performed.
Yes, because they have the people, they have the right people. It's just that they're not
the right people
making use of them
in office.
And they have started the right thing now by appointing Tinubu to the agreed party members.
All right. By
so doing, they will get the right people into positions, and Nigeria will be on the right path to progress.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for calling in. Okay. The way for me to interpret that is probably that, look, it's possible for our ruling party, whatever it is, to also, have the kind of clout that ANC has had. But it's been explained, you gentlemen have explained that ANC is no spring chicken. It has authority, it has longevity, it has history. And then perhaps most importantly, maybe that relates to what Emmanuel was saying, maybe, I don't know, the right people in charge who are not going to compromise. I guess that's what it's come down to.
I think that's what
because it is seen that all the leadership in this country, they're all in cahoots, is the way people think of it. It doesn't matter whether you're in opposition, whether you're ruling, that's the cynical view people have, that all of them are the same behind the screen. When they come out here, they make like there are differences. Apparently, ANC, because of some of the reasons you've explained, Prof, and the fact that it's been through a war, it has great moral authority and is not about to fritter that away by doing the kind of things that it is thought are done in other African countries where there's too much of a paddy-paddy government.
And the fact is that, they realize that, the ANC has been very careful in a lot of issues and policies. For instance, the land grab issue that will have sent all the whites out of that country.
Which Mugabe messed up.
Displaced, they've been very concerned about the project of the South African state project.
Yes.
So they don't want to squander it for any purpose. And so they were carefully managing the demands and aspirations of the people. Be that as it may, they've not they've not touched the heart and minds of the people in a lot of places. Because if you look at it, you go to the townships and all that, they are still complaining about things that they were promised and all that. But it takes a long time. That's why when people criticize our government at times, it worries me. It worries me in the sense that even if you bring any person from even in the heavens to come down to solve our problem, it cannot take. It won't be easy for that person.
It's still going to take
There'll be a lot of
because many blacks in South Africa are disappointed that in spite of the euphoria.
They are because the expectations were high.
Yes.
At once the white man is no longer there, we are going to get all that we want.
Yes.
That was the expectation. We hope with time,
Yes.
with meaningful expectations and gradual incremental processes, the government will attain what it wants.
Okay. Yakub, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you for calling, Yakub. Good morning.
Thank you very much. I think what happened in South Africa yesterday, I think is a welcome development. Welcome development in the sense that I could see that the resignation of the president in South Africa really come from his party advice that he should go, because they feel like it's going to be very difficult for them in the incoming election in 2019. Are you getting it, sir? But if the man failed to resign yesterday, I think the party in that South Africa, I mean the really party, it is not unlike Nigeria that if you don't have money, you can't be in control of power in the party, because they take the bull by the horn and then they give advice to their president, because you are going to make it difficult for us if you don't resign, because if you don't resign and then we go into election, what do you think we can tell the electorate? That's why they advised him, you should resign, and then it's good for him as a person, personally, Zuma as a person, that resign, because failure to resign, they may even force him out in the National Assembly and the State Assembly in that
they were ready
country.
to.
And then it would be a very disaster for his own political aspiration in the future, even though he cannot be able to aspire for that particular position anymore. But it can be able to tell the party now some certain things, because he takes to their own advice. They advise him, you should go, and then he listens to them. And then as time goes on, if they need his advice in terms of a policy making, they can call him on and then come and advise us. He can be able to say so. But if he doesn't resign yesterday, there's nothing they can call the guy to come and make anything. Unlike Nigeria, here in Nigeria, a party, if you don't have money, you cannot be in control of the party. For example, let me give you a quick example. In the ruling party in this country, last time I said that I asked my way, I could have said the incumbent chairman of the ruling party in this country to leave, but I don't have my
Yakub, we don't know of any impotent chairman, Yakub.
But we are going to get there one day.
You know how we do on TM now. We don't know of any impotent chairman anywhere. But thank you very much.
I think he was saying incumbent. I think he said incumbent.
Okay.
You see,
Yakub is making some points in there about, look, the party, money, that kind of a thing, the financial health of the party. It just struck me, it just reminded me that, wait a minute, parties in Nigeria are not funded like that. It is thought that a bunch of guys come together and float a party. It's not that the members are the people who are really sponsoring the party. Everybody is paying their dues. And so it really is a strong person, because no one person can say, this is I command this, this is how it's going to be. I don't know if your sense is that that is indeed the case. And even if that is relevant, or it is the fact that the party is on the ground is what is relevant. The actual constitution and what do they call it now? Day-to-day life of the party being, quite frankly, it is thought in the hands of just a few people, because everybody else coming to be a member is not ready to commit with their wallet. Or are they?
Or they should put their mouth where their money is.
We have seen it as well.
We don't. I don't know if we see that, and that's been one of those unspoken things.
Just coming to invest. We are bringing this. I'm coming to invest.
I have had people say that political party is a sort of investment. You put money and you take it out.
You see.
So at once we have that type of feelings and sentiments, I doubt if real and authentic party politics will take place. Because, if it is based on money, if you're going to influence people by money, if you're going to bribe and probe their way through anyway, then definitely that party will not have a soul and heart. Because the day you withdraw your money, that party is also over.
That's part of the problem. Oshoko in Kwara State, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Yori.
Thank you for calling in, sir.
And good morning, Prof. and the Honorable.
Oh, thank you.
What played in South Africa is that the institution is stronger than the individual politician.
Good.
Yes.
Which is the opposite in Nigeria. The ANC members have suffered a lot. I remember when I was the Lagos State president of the Nigeria Youth Thinkers Club. Thabo Mbeki stayed in our secretariat at 3 Montgomery Road, Yaba. They have suffered and they knew what it is. How many politicians have suffered what they, the ANC members, have suffered? They are getting this thing on the platter of gold. There is bread and butter politics in Nigeria. They show that the political party is stronger than the individual. That is the situation.
Indeed.
And it's going to take a long time for Nigeria to get there. And one other thing again is that they did not allow sentiment of ethnic sentiment or religious sentiment to come to play. If it's in Nigeria, they will say because he's an Hausa man, he's an Igbo man, that is why they want to remove him. Kudos to South Africa ANC. God bless Nigeria.
Thank you very much for calling in, Oshoko. But some of those things he mentions are part of our own national history. I heard somebody say somewhere that way back that there's no such thing as a universal democracy. It will have to fit into the environment that it finds itself in. Prof, do you agree with that, sir, or is that hogwash?
Those that we elect reflects the majority of our society, how our society is also. Democracy means different things to different people. You know, if you look at, there was something that was written some time ago, the rise of illiberal democracies, where you can pick anything, you can do free market economy, conduct elections, then it's democratic, but it's not. Democracy is more than elections. There's a continuation, it's a continuous process. It's more than elections. What of the position of the opposition, which is ingrained also in democratic principles, where elections are not free and fair, and free from fear? We have gone beyond that now in Nigeria. If you believe that you've been cheated out on elections, there is a way you go. You don't go and carry guns. You don't carry fuel to go and burn people out. You go straight to the court. That's an advantage we have not looked at. It's an advantage, something we have not looked at. Slowly but surely, democratic consolidation is taking place in Nigeria.
Okay.
Where a sitting president could hand over power without any problem. You can see things are changing. It will take a long time before the party system will develop.
Okay, everybody keeps on saying it will take a long time.
Definitely.
And that's the one thing we don't have in Nigeria. We don't have the time. We just...
Excuse me.
What do you think, sir?
If you want to run ahead of yourself, then definitely you're not going to get anything that is very important and serious. Because, you know, we look at ourselves and compare ourselves to other countries.
And that's not
But
going to
we
work.
don't have the edifice on which such democracies have been built upon.
Okay. Our foundation is
It's
such
just,
as it
it's
is.
not, we didn't fight for anything. We didn't fight for war. We didn't fight for anything.
We've
So
not got
definitely
through
we are
any
just
experiences.
building up something from somewhere.
Yeah.
Until when we realize that our aspirations come together and coincide and could work together with the aspiration of government, then and only then can we have a very stable and very firm democratic institution here in this country.
Divine, thank you for holding on. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Professor Chief Okuyori. And good morning to your panel in the studio.
Thank you.
Please go ahead.
I want to say that what happened in South Africa is a sign of democracy. And you can see that Zuma is a Democrat, not like what we have here in Nigeria. And where you change from military to president is been the problem we are having. Once we get a Democrat, it can lead this country. And if we don't have a Democrat, we can still...
Was that a slip of tongue? You said Zuma is a Democrat. Was that a slip of tongue, or you meant it?
Yeah, I meant it because he listened to the people.
The president who resigned?
Yes. He listened
The president
to
who
the
resigned
people.
listened to the
Yes.
people?
Yes, he
Okay.
listened to the party.
Oh, okay. He listened to the party. Okay, so he's a Democrat. Okay, now I get you. So he's a Democrat. It's part of what Prof was saying that, look, the democracy is not about election only. There are other aspects of democracy. So you are now
Listen
saying
to his people.
being forced out.
He's not listening to his people being forced out. He was forced out.
It was
And then
forced
there
out.
was no, if
He
not,
has no option than to...
the signs were already
as at
there.
the time he
Exactly.
left.
That's why I
The
was saying
signs
that.
were
Was it a
already
slip
there.
of tongue?
If he was a very careful and calculating person, he would have left after the
long overdue.
ANC elections,
Yes.
where they brought up Ramaphosa. He should have left easily. But you know, he was using that position to cover some of the ills that he has performed in government.
And that's the problem.
That's the problem,
And-
yes.
And you see, again,
That's the thing.
That's how you can't, you see, look at what you've been saying about the experiences of the ANC as an organ, as an institution coming through all of that. You would then think perhaps that, having seen what they have seen in their society, that a President Zuma could never emerge from ANC.
Exactly.
That's what one would think.
Yes.
Exactly. Looking at the records of Zuma, nobody would have thought Zuma would be presented as a flag bearer of any party
So-
in South Africa. You see,
So that
just to let
shows that even parties as respectable as you guys have said ANC is can make mistakes.
Exactly, that's where I'm
And, you
going.
know, Zuma had one advantage. He was somebody whose
maybe-
ear is on the ground.
He is,
And you can
because
see him dancing and jumping and all that.
He-
The
he-
grassroots man.
The people
he is
see
a
him as one
that's
of them.
one of it.
So
Because
that's the problem.
Even looking at what he has done, there are certain things you need to give to Zuma. The fact that he's a grassroots man. When you go to South Africa today, Zuma is a grassroots man. And he has been with ANC for for more than 50 years.
But what does that mean?
You
He's
see,
a
but the
grassroots man. Are grassroots people inherently corrupt?
It's okay.
Are they inherently corrupt?
That's where
and so that when one of them becomes president, it will be on the scale of the allegations against
That's
Zuma.
where he got it wrong. And that's where the party itself got it wrong. Because it doesn't even have the integrity in the first place. It was dismissed by Thabo Mbeki. It was dismissed by Thabo Mbeki.
But the point is, he still
but
became
the point
president.
is that the party, because of the party supremacy.
But you must also know that parties are formed by factions.
Yeah,
Exactly.
okay, that's another.
Yes.
You know, let's come back, because Prof just brought another aspect to it. Let me go on a quick break. Come back. Parties are formed by factions actually,
yes,
further complicating the
yes.
affair. Stay with us, please. We'll be right back. Continue receiving your calls. Okay, welcome back. Still here with Honorable Rotimi Ogunwuyi and Professor Charles Dokubo. We're looking at the situation in South Africa where they have a new president and the circumstances under which the former president resigned, new president has come into office. And we've looked at quite a number of arms of this issue. Prof, as we were going away, you were saying that, well, oftentimes parties are formed by factions.
By factions. Even in the developed countries.
And, so, and factions have
different
ideologies, different
in fact, the ANC,
concepts of how they want to run the party.
The ANC is a broad church where you have various factions and then various ideas. Those who want a very progressive one, those who believe that, you know, they could, with that instrument, change things for the South African people. Others have a different way of seeing how South Africa could be ruled. They also believe that a grassroots man is somebody whose ear is on the ground, is to the ground, that will know what we want. And at that time, looking at a well-educated Thabo Mbeki and compare him to Zuma, can you just imagine? So factions do happen. I'll give you an example in the Labour Party. When the pendulum swung to the left, when Tony Benn and co. came into ascendancy, that's when you have the split in the party, the Gang of Three and all that, Shelley Williams, Rogers and all that. So that's how parties disintegrate. Because at that time, his own faction of the party was in the ascendancy. They've just removed some nice, brilliant person. Now they want their own person. Yeah. He will be the person for the party. So that's how it emerged.
And this point that Prof has just made, quite frankly, the way it interprets here, we have our own one particular ethnic group's turn now. That other person's religious faith is the guy in turn now. So there are those aspects. That's why I said perhaps there's no such thing as a textbook democracy. We're going to have to factor in all
everything.
these.
It's a long road with exits and entrances. You pick what you like, and then give it a new resonance.
Adekunle from Abule Egba, good morning. Mr. Adekunle from Abule Egba, are you there? Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
We're waiting for you. Go ahead, please.
Hello?
We can hear you. Go ahead. Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah. Hello?
We can hear you. Carry on.
Yeah. I want to contribute to the program.
That's why you called. Go ahead, please.
Thank you very much. There is a particular man there. The honorable there.
Sorry, I don't know. Thank you very much for calling in. You don't seem to understand how we do what we do here. As soon as you are put on, please go ahead. Maybe just confirm which you did that. Can you hear me? We did. Just please go ahead. I don't know. Maybe it was, the network. Honorable, this whole matter of the other spices that we need to add into our own democratic soup. I hope the thing is still, the soup still is democracy, because as Prof pointed out, it doesn't end at elections. In fact, maybe that's where it really begins.
You see, like Prof said, it's more than election. And that's what we are doing. That's why I said...
Sorry, let me interrupt you so that, let me bring in this. Mazi Okoroafo, good morning.
Good morning, Sayori.
Thank you for calling in.
Good morning, our guests in the studio. Good morning, everybody.
Yeah.
You see, Sayori, South African politics today is a good lesson for Africans, not only Nigerians. Here in Nigeria, we criticize and without solutions to back up. This is politics of enlightened people. What do we learn from South Africa? There is a movable internal democracy and politics without bitterness. The party, as we all know, is short. They were working for not for certain people, or religion, or tribe, or sentiment, or this is our turn. Now, in that, what we are seeing now is that stealing is a crime in the ANC. So steal and be thrown away from the party. Now, not only in South Africa that we can learn a lesson. Now, if you look at other continents within the zone, you see that when you say accuse somebody of stealing, or what we call it corruption, but I don't look at it, I call it as job-based stealing. What do? The people now will bring up, this is a challenge to our Nigerian youth. Who made Zuma to leave the office? It's a youth in the House of Reps there who brought documents to show that Zuma gets money. And at the end of the day, the youth stood his ground with facts and figures, and other people backing what with facts and figures. At the end of the day, you have seen how the youth have succeeded in removing a sitting president in a country. Our youth in Nigeria, they have to learn a lesson from this. Thank you very much. I have a blessed day in Lagos, and I'm inviting for my...
Oh, okay, didn't hear that. It trailed off. Thank you very much for calling in. You were going to talk about sometimes the contradictions that can result as a result of these factions coming together to form a party.
The things we need to put in, the ingredients we need to put in to make our own democracy. You see, like we all know, despite the fact that ANC has been a party that has been in existence since 1912, they still make mistakes.
Yes.
Like some of the things we've been saying this morning. But you see, the point I want us to realize is that there are lots of, you see, what brought about this beauty, what we are seeing as beauty of democracy in South Africa is as a result of many factors. You see, if you look at the system of government over there, where it's more or less like a parliamentary, though it's a fiction of presidential, but more or less like a parliamentary, where whoever will emerge as the president must first of all be a member of the parliament. It goes to show that we are all equal. It is when you get there that we would now say, it's okay, this is the man we want to pick as our president. Just like what some of the states are operating now, especially in the last local government election in Osun State. They tried to imbibe that parliamentary system. I think it goes a long way for them to see themselves as being equal. But you see, like we said, election entails is more than coming to voting center to vote on. It goes towards a period of time.
It's a whole process.
It's a whole process. One of the processes is what is going on presently. The registration and all of that is the only thing.
But how about the internal democracy? That's also a point.
See,
how about internal democracy in these parties that we're subscribing to?
That's one of the problems facing most of the political parties in Nigeria, because we lack internal democracy. And with what is happening all over, because why I said we lack internal democracy in some of the political parties in Nigeria is that, you see, like we said earlier on, somebody would just come and say, it's okay because I have this, I have money, or I have some connection, I want to run. Somebody will now come to you and tell you, they asked me to come. Well, so we have been having unwilling...
almost. Even President Obasanjo, that is celebrated around the world, he was a reluctant candidate.
He's unwilling.
What more do I want?
Even President
I've been in prison.
Yes. Was even unwilling.
Okay, I've got a call on the line. Shegun in Yanokwaja, is it? Shegun in Yanokwaja, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Yori.
Okay, we're waiting for you. Go ahead, please.
We want to appreciate you for the good work you are doing there.
Oh, you're so kind, sir.
Yeah. I want to speak with that honorable.
Yes. Quickly, please.
Yeah, thank you. Honorable.
Yes, sir.
You are well done, sir.
Thank you, sir.
What is the point? Why do you have to appoint a question? What do you want to...
It's not a question. It's not a question. My question...
Speak to the program.
I'm listening to the program.
Speak to it.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, what Zuma has done in South Africa, I don't think we have any other politician that has done that in the history of Africa. Yeah, thank you. And that man is contesting for an election. If his political party asks him to step down, will he do that? Or if they ask him to release his power, can he do that? That's just a question.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. So it's not really personal. After I understand the question. Would you like to take a stab at the question? If I could, to recast it, that look, what has worked in South Africa, where the party says you must step down, and that was really the end of it. Here, we have also said that, no, this is the person that we want to put forward for that office. And people have said rubbish, poppycock, and nonsense. I am going to contest that office whether you like it or not. So that's the big major difference. So that's how I'd reinterpret the question that, well, you as a Nigerian politician, let's say your party now decides that you should step down. Are you as a Nigerian politician in a party willing to conform to party discipline and party supremacy and step down, as appears to have been the case in South Africa?
I think the man that asked that question, he must have known me, because I have aspired in the past and my party said I should step down, and I stepped down. So that's why I said he must have known me.
Okay, so the answer to that
is so simple.
Hypothetical question
we are trying to build an institution, not an individual.
So what you are saying to that gentleman is that, indeed, yes, and I've done it
before.
before.
It in the past.
Okay. So, but you probably understand the big examples around where people are, doing things that fly in the face of the party's instructions.
Exactly.
And are constituting themselves into a
nuisance.
Well, I was going to say a law unto themselves.
For me, there's a particular problem about the party politics here we have in this country.
Okay.
This idea of cross-carpeting
yes,
and all that. And that if there are strong laws, that if you are elected by a particular party and you want to leave that party, you should go and contest a by-election. Because you are brought to that place by that party. If you want to jump to that party and you want to carry your own party, it is wrong.
There's a law.
Because if there's a law there,
there's a law.
I'm in PDP, I want to go to APC, then I've been elected by PDP. Then I have to resign from my position and contest a by-election on that party's name. No,
that's not the way we do it.
That's not the way.
But that's where they do it.
But that's the way it is done in other political
It should be done that way.
climes.
Yes, it should be done. Because I could remember, even in England, I'll count. There are by-elections. Shelley William, William Rogers, and all that. They left to form a third party, the Social Democratic Party, and all that. What we are saying is that if the situation is so fluid, where you can jump from one place to the other, even the sustenance of that party becomes difficult. So the sustenance of that party becomes difficult.
Okay, one moment, please. Cecilia in Isolo, good morning.
From Ajao.
I beg your pardon, from Ajao. Sorry about that. I don't know why I took you to Isolo this morning.
All right, sir. Good morning, Mr. Yori.
Good morning.
What they did in South Africa is good. We can. Good morning, Mr. Yori. What they did. Yes. What they did in South Africa, we can do it in Nigeria. We can do it in Nigeria. The only thing we can do in this country for us to do that kind of a thing, if we have free party, that we don't have godfather, that no, Mr. Yori, I want you to contest under APC, and it must be Mr. Yori. I want you to contest under PDP, it must be Mr. Yori. But if they allow the electorate, in Nigeria, the common people, say, okay, let's hold on and fair election, let's vote. This is the person we want, and we put them there. We can easily remove the person. Now, can you tell me that if we carry placard and we go around, we say we want to remove Buhari, can we remove Buhari? It's not possible. So until we remove the issue of father, godfather, mother, father, that is when we can do it. We can do it in Nigeria. We have free grant.
Okay, we can do it too. But this is a thing we've been talking about. That is when people, I imagine, are paying their dues. Because the implication of what she is saying, and has been said before, is that the people in a party hardly matter. The godfathers, so-called, those are the guys that are funding the party anyhow. So you can have your say, we will have our way. But how do we get to this democratization of the party such that internal politics, because everybody is a dues-paying member, and no one person put any money beyond everybody else, well, that unfortunately is not a situation we have at the hand. So how do we get there?
It's a difficult one. You know, although we can think about state sponsor of parties, where the state will give every party, depending on the percentage of votes you got in the last party, money should be shared in that way. Then, you know, that sort of independence that have been created within the party, you can use that as a vehicle. But if party politics is based on individual wealth and a group of people bringing money, it becomes difficult. But if the state is sponsoring parties, then, you know, we can contain these big people and all that.
Honorable, what do you think about this particular question?
Let me address this issue as a politician.
Sure.
My eye is pretty difficult, even if the states are sponsoring parties. Because when we talk of money politics, it's not only in Nigeria, it's all over places.
What do you mean by money politics? It's one thing for one person to have money, but we're talking about the
state
organ,
itself.
The party, the
states,
ruling party.
Yes, any party, all the parties, the states will give them money.
Sure.
Dependent on the number of votes you had in the last election.
Okay.
Yes.
But he's saying that, well, being in the field, he sees some aspects, right, that he wants to share.
I wish I could listen to him and hear better.
I think it has been done in the past.
Oh, that's SDP.
During SDP and
NRC.
But you see, the fear is this. The state sponsoring party will not go anywhere we might not even be able to achieve what we intend to. Because you see, we still have some of these people that will come into the party. How much, when you look at it like that, that's why I said I want to talk as an insider now. How much is the state giving compared to the expenses in the party? You see, that's the problem. No amount of money. You see, I'm not saying the state might not have the enormous resources to give, but it's not for us now to start financing party. Definitely, there must be a contribution from members of the party to show that you are part and parcel of the party. You are a card-carrying member of the party and a financial member of the party. So, you see, state-sponsoring party will not in any way help in this situation, and it will not change the situation we have on ground.
Well, the situation, let's just, you know, we're talking about Zuma, he was sworn in. Let's just look at that for a while to keep everything in perspective. Democracy has led South Africa to there.
Elected President of the Republic of South Africa.
Okay.
New
65-year-old South African President Cyril Ramaphosa.
He was elected in the parliament because of the nature of the system they run.
Exactly, that Prof was referring to.
Yes, it's one of them.
Yes.
You see, you must have been a parliament before you become.
Indeed. Adeshola in Ikoyi, good morning.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning, sir.
My name is Adeshola.
Please go ahead now.
From Ikoyi, it's okay. I think the system of government in South Africa, the way they choose their leader is quite different the way we are practicing our democracy. We practice democracy in Nigeria here, which, you know, is so expensive to fix a presidency. But in South Africa, the system of a parliamentary system that they want to choose, and that's why it's so easier for them to put a president in order. In Nigeria, a multiple party. So by the time you now say you don't want this man, another people say, okay, we want this person. I think we have to go back. Since it's of South Africa. Is it not better if we go back to that financial system of government that they can only choose because it's too expensive to run in democracy in Nigeria? And that's the only way. It cannot work the way Zuma was removed. It cannot work in Nigeria because of the system in place. Thank you. God bless you, sir.
Indeed. Okay, thank you very much. People saying that that system cannot work in Nigeria. And people are saying that. The lady Cecilia called in and said the same thing, that look, in as much as there are, I mean, it's not official, but there are those who are seen as owners of the party. In fact, politicians will even speak and tell you, say, we established this party. We were there. So there's a sense of, look, nobody can shortchange me in this party. So it's seen from a me perspective, because I know what I contributed, perhaps. And in as much as there are those who are able to speak that way, and then everybody else just has to, metaphorically be like that, as our people say, what is it that we should do now? And that's why you hear it has been said, or this is what we were told to do. And people are considering that the assignment is to go and execute the directive that was given to them.
I want us to...
And you were explaining how it's difficult. People don't understand it. You explaining it from being an insider.
Like Prof was saying, state-sponsored... what is needed is more than what the state is giving out. And before I go into that, before we close on that, I want us to jettison this idea of nothing can work. Nobody would have thought a sitting president would be defeated and he would just relinquish power like that. Nobody would have thought it will happen in Nigeria. So it happened.
So never say never.
No.
You can never tell. Okay, let me just quickly squeeze in Labayo from Akure. Good morning.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Yeah, I just want to make a little contribution. It's so good that we are seeing this kind of development in Africa now. And it's heartwarming. It's soothing to see that we have countries where leaders know what is right for their citizens. But it is unfortunate that what we have in all these countries, we do not have it in Nigeria. Nigeria is usually the giant of Africa as acclaimed. So if what we're having in these countries of Africa, if that cannot be reciprocated in Nigeria, then it's a shame. We have leaders here in our country who do not really care about the citizens. Those who they claim they are serving or they are leading, they see themselves more of leaders than servants. And it's unfortunate. I personally would like to see the kind of thing we're seeing in these African countries now. I personally would like to see it in Nigeria as a country. Only then can we move forward from all these atrocities being perpetrated by our so-called leaders. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Indeed, thank you very much, Labayo. And Labayo is our last caller today. I guess lessons, we're learning these lessons. Things are happening all around us, and we say, there's a lesson in this for Nigeria. Well, I hope it really is a lesson. And it's a lesson to the people. Never mind power. Power is on one aspect, but this is showing that the people, the power really resides there, and there are jurisdictions that will use it, as indeed South Africa has used it when the need came. That is probably, I don't know how, maybe we should just keep on praying. We pray a lot in Nigeria.
There are definitely institutions within parties that could take control of the parties. There are institutions, there are executive council, there are other treasurers. Within the parties, you have all these things. But how do they function?
That's the big question, right?
How do they function?
How are they allowed to function?
Allowed, I don't know, but how do they function?
Oh, you mean how should they classically function?
Function, yes.
Yes.
Well, if you say allowed to function, as if somebody is controlling it.
But that's not necessarily the case.
No, the fact is that these people have been elected on their own within the party to perform particular tasks. How can they go further? We don't need somebody outside to tell the party what to do. We need the people to take care of their own parties and then make a decision on what they think is right for them.
And so if Zuma had been both leader of the party and president of
South Africa,
it would not have happened. It would not have happened.
It would not have been possible.
Thank you
I think that's what. And I think I don't know what my people's governor would do with the statute of Zuma erected in Imo State.
So, thank you very much, Honorable Rotimi Ogunwuyi and Professor Charles Dokubo. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Really appreciate your comment.
Thank you.
Okay, so that's our program. Please join us on Monday for the next edition, because we don't do weekends. Yori Folarin, have a great weekend. Bye-bye.
The Honorable Matamela Cyril Ramaphosa, duly elected President of the Republic of South Africa.